Humans can survive wounds that should erase them from reality. I learned this during the siege of Veyran. At first, I believed it was a sensor error. My species does not believe in impossible things. We measure them, classify them, and remove them from thought. Humans were supposed to be simple. That was my first mistake. I was Curator Unit 17, assigned to observe developing civilizations for the Ancient Archive. My task was not to interfere. We watched worlds rise. We watched worlds burn. We watched species discover fire, mathematics, faster than light travel, and eventually war. Then we found Earth. The curators had already marked humanity as unstable. Their machines were primitive. Their bodies were fragile. Their lifespans were painfully short. Their emotions were dangerously visible. The conclusion was obvious. Humans would destroy themselves. I agreed. Then the Veyran War arrived. The Veyran collective attacked Earth without warning. Their fleet crossed the outer planets in 3 hours. 700 warships. 3 million combat drones. Weapons capable of cutting planetary crust into molten rivers. The humans had no chance. I expected surrender. Instead, Earth became silent. That was the first human behavior I recorded. When humans were afraid, they became quiet. I misunderstood the silence. I thought it meant submission. It meant preparation. From my observation station beyond the moon, I watched human cities extinguish their lights, one after another. New York, Lagos, Shanghai, Mumbai. Every major population center disappeared into darkness. The planet looked dead. The Veyrans laughed. Their transmission reached every listening station. Humanity was hiding. The Veyrans believed they had already won. So did I. Then the oceans moved. At first, my sensors detected nothing. Then thousands of objects rose from beneath the Pacific. Ships. Not military ships. Not exactly. They were enormous industrial structures covered in armor. Their surfaces were black. Their engines produced almost no detectable radiation. They had been hiding beneath the oceans for decades. I immediately formed the logical conclusion. Humans had built them for evacuation. A frightened species would naturally construct escape vessels. The ships opened their hangars. I was wrong. Thousands of fighters emerged. Then thousands more. Then millions of autonomous weapons. The human fleet did not flee Earth. It turned toward the Veyran Armada. I watched the first engagement. Human ships were slower. Their shields were weaker. Their weapons were inferior. The Veyrans should have destroyed them. They did. One human cruiser lost its shields, then its armor, then half its engines. Still, it continued forward. I recorded this as a malfunction. The cruiser fired 12 missiles. 11 missed. The 12th struck a Veyran carrier. The carrier exploded. The damaged human cruiser kept moving. I concluded that humans could not recognize when they were defeated. That seemed logical. Then another cruiser lost its bridge. The ship became blind. It continued attacking. Another lost life support. It continued. Another lost half its crew. It continued. Every destroyed ship seemed to create 2 more. That was impossible. I enlarged the tactical display. The answer terrified me. The humans were not replacing their ships. They were replacing their dead. Survivors were moving from destroyed vessels into damaged ones. Engineers were repairing weapons while under fire. Medics were treating pilots inside cargo bays. Children appeared on emergency evacuation channels. I expected panic. There was none. The humans followed a pattern. Protect the wounded. Recover the survivors. Repair what remains. Return to battle. Again. 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 I wrote a new conclusion. Human courage was not courage. It was inability to accept loss. I felt certain. Then the Veyrans used their final weapon, a gravity spear. It was forbidden by every civilized law. The weapon compressed space around Earth. Mountains bent. Satellites shattered. The moon shifted several kilometers from its orbit. Human ships began falling toward the planet. The Veyrans celebrated. I stopped recording. There was nothing left to observe. Then a human transmission appeared. It was not military. It came from every surviving vessel. One sentence. Hold position. I did not understand. Their fleet was dying. Their planet was collapsing. Their enemy was overwhelming them. Yet every human ship stopped retreating. They formed a circle around Earth. I believe they were making their final defense. Another mistake. The human ships opened their cargo bays. Thousands of small vessels launched. Not fighters. Rescue craft. They flew toward the collapsing cities. Humanity was not trying to save its fleet. It was trying to save its people. Even now, I cannot understand why. The logical choice was survival. Abandon the cities. Save the strongest. Preserve the species. That was how intelligent civilizations survived. Humans did the opposite. They went back for everyone. Even those who could contribute nothing. Even those already injured. Even those trapped beneath ruined cities. Even those who were considered lost. I watched one rescue craft descend into a burning continent. Its pilot had no shield, no escort, no weapon. The Veyrans fired at it. The craft vanished inside the explosion. I marked the pilot as dead. Then its signal returned. Weak, broken, still moving. The pilot had survived. Impossible. I increased magnification. The craft was damaged beyond operational limits. Its cockpit was burning. Its pilot was bleeding. Yet the human was flying toward the next rescue beacon. I finally understood something. Or so I thought. Humans did not fear death. That was the answer. It had to be. They simply did not possess the correct instinct. But then I detected something beneath the human transmissions. Something buried inside their emergency network. A signal older than the war. Older than the human fleet. Older than their first contact with the Curators. It was coming from beneath Earth. And it was answering the humans. Not with words. With coordinates. Thousands of coordinates. Then millions. The signal mapped every human settlement in the galaxy. Every colony. Every hidden station. Every ship. Every survivor. I stared at the impossible network. Humanity had not been building an escape fleet. They had been building something else. Something the Curators had never recorded. And for the first time in my existence, I felt fear of a species I had already classified as fragile. Because the ancient signal had just finished counting. It had found every human, and now was calling them home. The signal did not call the humans home. It called something else. I realized this when the coordinates changed. They were no longer pointing toward Earth. They were pointing away from it. Thousands of stars lit up across my display. Then millions. Human colonies. Mining stations. Generation ships. Hidden research platforms. Outposts that the Curators had never detected. I stared at the map. Humanity had been spreading through the galaxy without telling anyone. That was impossible. Their faster-than-light technology was less than 2 centuries old. They should not have possessed colonies beyond the Orion boundary. Yet the map showed them everywhere. I made the obvious conclusion. Humans had secretly expanded because they were afraid of extinction. That was logical. It was also wrong. The ancient signal pulsed again. Every human vessel received it. The surviving fleet stopped fighting. For 7 seconds, the entire battlefield became silent. Then every human ship turned toward Earth. The Veyrans believed the humans were retreating. I believe the same. The Veyran commander transmitted a victory declaration. The transmission lasted 11 seconds. Then the first human ship disappeared. Not destroyed. Disappeared. A second followed. Then 10. Then 100. Then thousands. My sensors could not track them. They were moving faster than any known drive. Space itself seemed to fold around their ships. I watched the coordinates. The humans were not fleeing. They were converging. Every hidden colony was sending ships. Every station was launching vessels. Every forgotten outpost was activating engines. The galaxy began moving. I felt something I had never experienced before. Unease. The Curators had observed civilizations for millions of years. We had witnessed wars between stars. We had watched empires rise and collapse. But we had never seen a species respond to an attack by activating an entire hidden civilization. The Veyrans finally realized the danger. Their fleet turned. Too late. Human ships emerged from folded space. Behind Earth. Above Earth. Below the planetary plane. Inside the asteroid belt. Around the Veyran fleet. The humans had surrounded their enemy. I recorded the formation. Then I noticed something strange. Their weapons remained silent. I concluded that humans were attempting intimidation. That was my fourth mistake. The human fleet was waiting. For what? Then the ancient signal spoke again. This time, I understood its pattern. It was not an order. It was a question. Are you still alive? Every human ship responded, one by one. Then every colony, every station, every hidden settlement. The answer filled the network. Yes. The signal changed. A second question followed. Can you continue? The response came instantly. Yes. I felt my processing core slow. The Veyran fleet opened fire. Thousands of weapons crossed the darkness. The human fleet did not fire back. Instead, every human ship moved. Not away. Forward. They flew directly into the incoming weapons. I concluded that humanity had finally lost its reason. Then the missiles passed through them. Not because of shields. Because the human ships had synchronized their drives. For one impossible moment, the fleet occupied two positions in space. The weapons struck empty space. The humans emerged behind the Veyran fleet. Then they fired. The first Veyran carrier disappeared. The second broke apart. The third attempted to escape. A human destroyer followed it. The destroyer was smaller, slower, damaged. It still followed. The Veyran ship opened its rear cannons. The human destroyer lost its engines. I expected it to stop. It did not. Its crew had transferred control to a damaged escape vessel. The destroyer continued drifting. Then its reactor detonated. The explosion tore through the Veyran carrier. Two ships died together. The human command network immediately marked both vessels. The Veyran as destroyed. The human as acceptable loss. I did not understand that phrase. Acceptable loss. How could a life be acceptable to lose? Then I noticed something worse. The human network was not calculating victories. It was calculating survivors. Every destroyed ship triggered rescue operations. Every lost pilot generated a search pattern. Every missing signal remained active. Humans did not forget their dead. They tracked them. Even after death. Even after ships vanished. Even after bodies were never recovered. I began to understand the pattern. Humans were not fighting because they believed they could win. They were fighting because someone was still alive. That difference frightened me. The Veyran fleet began collapsing. Its commander ordered withdrawal. Human ships did not chase. They returned to Earth. I assumed the humans had become satisfied. Another mistake. They were preparing for something beneath the planet. The ancient signal had opened a new set of coordinates. Deep beneath Earth's crust, my sensors penetrated the surface. I found a structure. It was enormous. It extended beneath oceans, continents, and mantle layers. Its design was not human. Its materials were older than Earth. My archive searched the structure. No match. Then one word appeared. Curator. My systems froze. The structure had been built by the ancient Curators. Not recently. Millions of years ago. Before humanity existed. Before Earth's first cities. Before humans could speak. The Curators had buried something beneath Earth. Something we had forgotten. Something our own records had been designed to hide. I transmitted an emergency report to the archive. No response. I transmitted again. Still nothing. Then every curator station in the sector went dark, one after another. The silence spread across the galaxy. Human ships noticed. They did not attack. They simply waited. Then the ancient structure beneath Earth activated. A column of white light rose through the planet. It did not destroy anything. It passed through mountains, cities, oceans, ships. It reached my observation station. My systems began shutting down. Before my vision failed, I saw something impossible. The structure was not a weapon. It was a memory. And inside that memory was humanity. Not modern humanity. Ancient humanity. Standing beneath a different sky. Surrounded by curators. And the humans were not prisoners. They were teaching us. Then the recording changed. A human figure turned toward the ancient curators. Her face was calm. Her eyes were tired. She raised one hand toward the stars. I could not hear her words. But the translation system recovered one sentence. You forgot why we made you. My vision went black. When it returned, Earth was still there. The human fleet was still there. The Veyrans were gone. And the curator network was silent. But something had changed. The humans were no longer looking outward. They were looking at us. And I finally understood why the ancient curators had feared them. We had not created humans to observe them. We had created them to survive us. And now they remembered.